Okay, 10:15, you're listening to Triple R and Coodabeen Champions. And Helen Molnar, good morning.
Good morning, Chris.
And back from a failed fishing trip, Torch.
That's right, they weren't biting this week. Morning, Chris. Morning, Helen.
Well, this week we've got a change on the think tank. After introducing non-male panel members, we're now introducing a non-male guest. And I don't really know how to introduce you, Karen. It'd be wrong to say you're Brian Wilson's wife, but Brian Wilson...
He's my husband.
Right, and you're not his wife then?
Yes, I'm his wife, but he's my husband first of all.
Okay, well, thanks a lot for coming in anyway.
Thanks, Karen. I wanted to ask you a rather silly question, but we're going to get the perfect match new idea question out of the way first of all, which is, where did you meet? Did you meet at a football match?
No, I had no interest whatsoever before I met Brian. We met at a place called the Phone Box Disco, which everyone used to go to. It was when I was 16, he was 16, and you sat around tables, and there was a telephone on each table, and you picked up the phone, and you asked the person on the other table for a date. But he was actually chatting up a friend of mine, and so when she went to the toilet, I moved in.
I think we can take this up with Brian a bit more, but on a more serious note, there is definitely a very widespread image of a football wife coming a distant second behind training and the club demands. How do you feel about that?
I suppose in a way it's true. There's some nights he doesn't get home till way after 10, and you've got the meal cooked and it's sitting in the microwave. That's the only reason he bought me the microwave. And I suppose it's true, but it's just something that you've got to accept. I mean, his football really comes first, and I can't tell him to come home early if he's got to train. So I mean, it's just a matter of finding things to do yourself. So when he goes out, which he will be Sunday with the boys, I mean, you go out as well. And he doesn't like that, but it's just something that he's got to understand.
Karen, do you find that the workload around the house gets greater or smaller because you're married to a footballer? For example, who washes the gear?
Doesn't get done. I mean, sometimes he says, where's my training gear? And we have to sort through the dirty washing to find it. So he often wears dirty training gear twice in a row. But, I mean, that's no drama. I do the washing.
So you'd be looking forward to when Melbourne change back to the dark blue Guernseys and you'd only have to wash them once a month.
Oh, look, you should see it when they wear white shorts. I throw them out. I don't even wash them. Sometimes they get so dirty if they're playing at Moorabbin that you don't even try and get the stains out. You just throw them out. So they're always saying to him at the club, why haven't you got any white shorts? They're all in the rubbish.
Does it worry you being called Brian Wilson's wife?
No, it's nice to be called Karen occasionally, though. I mean, the funny thing around the club is that Brian's been there, I think 4 or 5 years now, and they still don't know my name. I mean, they ring up on the phone and you get Sharon or Carol or, and you sort of say, well, it's Karen, but, don't worry about it. Brian's the important one at the club, and I understand that, so...
What is the place for a football wife at a club? I mean, it's essentially a very male preserve, so where do you fit in?
Well, you don't really, because they pretend that the football wife is one of the most important parts of the club, and she's not. I mean, she doesn't get to go on the trips, she doesn't get the luncheons. If Brian's injured, he's the one that's invited to the luncheons, not me. And it's very rarely that the wife plays such a great role except to wash their clothes.
Do you find that, therefore, you have to sort of strike up a relationship with other women around the club, other wives and friends, and that to have some sort of social relationship going on between people?
Well, I mean, in all clubs, there's people that like each other and there's people that don't like each other. And Brian and I, in a sense, are pretty much separate from the rest of the club in that we really prefer our own company and prefer on a Saturday night to go home rather than go out and socialise at the discos where a lot of other people go. So, I mean, we're disincluded for that. Not disincluded, I mean, he's really one of the boys, but we more or less go home, and therefore that separates us from a lot of the other people at the club. And, I mean, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, and it's something that he has to work on, but with me, it's not all that important. I'd rather just go home. But the girls are, all in all, pretty nice. Pretty good.
What's life with Brian like when he loses?
He doesn't like to lose, but he doesn't like to play badly himself. So it's pretty equal when they lose and when he plays badly himself. It's on equal par. He hates to lose and he really hates to play badly. And I think it's worse when he himself plays badly. Although he feels for the team, it's really awful I feel it more when he plays badly more than when... I don't care if the team wins or loses. I shouldn't have said that, should I?
No.
That was in the
going
script.
to kill me.
Yes. No, it's only Melbourne we're talking about here, not Carlton, so it's all right.
I prefer it more if he plays well than if the team wins. And that's just me, though. I'm not saying that that's the whole of the Melbourne Football Club.
Karen, I had a friend who used to play, and his wife used to go, and she used to read a book, and he broke his leg one day and finished up in hospital, and she didn't realise till he hadn't got home at 8 o'clock that night. I mean, do you take along plenty of reading matter and knitting and stuff like that?
I started knitting him a jumper only because all the other boys are doing it, and this is when I first started going to the football. And he nags me every year because all the other boys turn up in their hand-knit jumpers and I'm still going on the one back of the one jumper. So I don't do my knitting. I take reading occasionally, but that's only for before the game because we get there pretty early. We get there about 12 o'clock because I go in with Brian. And so it means you're waiting for 2 hours before the game and you need something to do. And if there's not very nice people around, you want to do something. So I normally read. But, I mean, he's never been injured and me not know. But he often says to me, did you see me kick that goal? And I would have been talking. I say, oh yeah, it was a good one. But that's about it. I mean, I don't read during the game. I don't knit during the game.
Karen, you're going to embark on a career as a tertiary educated person next year. Are you going to have to force Brian to give up some football commitments and allow your career to take first place?
I don't think he'd do it even if I asked him to do it, and I don't think I'd ask him to do it. I mean, as it is now, we hardly see each other. He's back at college this year as well, finishing his phys ed, and plus he's got a landscape gardening business, and he works in a gym part time, and and he's got football. So often we see each other, just as we're getting into bed and just as we're getting out of bed. So I don't think I could ask him to slow down, although nothing ever gets done around the house, and we're renovating a house as well. I mean, it's been in total chaos for the past 3 years, so I suppose if anything changed, it'd be quite a shock.
You said before that you miss out on certain things, being a wife, for example, the end-of-season trip and those sorts of things. What sort of facilities does the club lay on for footballers' wives? Do they treat you as you should be treated, as important people?
No, they don't do anything for us.
Do they expect you to be part of the club, though, part of the PR function and boosting Melbourne?
Well, there's often a function at, that Stewie Spencer, the chairman, his wife often has a function and all the girls have to go, and you find it's the same old girls turning up each time, and she puts on a supper for you, and then she gives you a big talk on how you should motivate your boys, and she said that,
How should you?
Well, she said that when she was first going out with Stewie that, he was just a really average sort of footballer, Mr. Average, and then she got her clutches into him and she fed him the right sort of food and she gave him a really big rap, and then Stewie was brilliant that next week. And she said that if we go home and we say to those boys when they're injured, boys, you don't feel sore, you don't feel tired, just get off your backside and do what you like, well then they'll be brilliant too. But unfortunately it doesn't quite work that way, so we don't go to Stewie Spencer's anymore.
And have you got lots of copies of Rocky 3 on the video at home so you can play them?
No, we don't have a video. It got stolen 2 weeks ago.
What about after-match giveaways? I mean, do you get bottles of champagne?
Oh, look, we have got so many silver-plated trays, and they're not even silver. They go all tarnished. And I just don't have the time to clean those stupid trays. They're in the spare room in this sort of trophy case we've got, and it's got everything in it.
The Melbourne Football Club is cheap as well. I hope people have realised that.
Well, I mean, we really appreciate them, but if they could only not give us silver trays, it'd be great. Last week, Brian won something for, I think it was a Fitzroy game. He got best on the ground, and he was going to get this awful watch, and he's got so many watches from the club. So he went to the guy and he said, look, don't give me that watch. I don't want that watch. So he got tankards instead. And I mean, that was really nice, but normally you get pretty plain presents. But it is a thought that counts, I guess.
Karen, given all this experience, would you allow any of your children to play league football?
No, too many injuries. Maybe tennis or golf or... What children?
Well, look, Karen, we've got to wind up. It's been great having you in here and for being so forthright and forthcoming, and we hope that Brian's match payments are still in the post after this week.
Well, actually, he hasn't signed his contract yet, so I think you better do that soon or we won't be getting anything.
And thanks for coming in again.
You're welcome.
Right.